Okay, dear family, this is part number one, the more academic part, all right? So we got it, yeah? All right, first of all, there is a context that we need to set for this Lenten season. And it started back when Jesus was born, when you heard the pronouncement that this Jesus is the Son of God. First point, that Jesus is the Son of God. So what the scripture wanted to establish is that God had entered this world. Are you with me so far? So God had entered this world. And we hear the angels talk and so forth. Then we see at a couple of other times when Jesus is baptized, you hear this voice. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. At the Transfiguration, the same thing. This is my beloved Son. All of this to establish that this Jesus who came into our world is real. He is in the world, entered the world. The second point is this one, that he is also man. So he's both God and man. There had never been, before or after, anyone like him. God and man. So we have this special reading here today where you see that Jesus is tempted. And it shows to us how human he really is. That he was tempted in the way that he was. This is to show that as man, he understands what it means to live in the world in which you and I live in, and what can happen as you move along your life. Now, I like to call that our moral compass, that we continue to inform that moral compass. And the moral compass says that Jesus came into this world who is God, but he's also man. We have the Ten Commandments as our action plan, and the other sacraments that Jesus gave to us are all there to help us move through this life in a way that shows love of God, love of self, and of others. That's what's there. All right. So this reading today wants to state to us that Jesus understands that this path we walk is not an easy one, and that when mistakes are made, when temptations come, we can make the wrong decision. And what we ask then is to Jesus to help us clarify as we make our decisions, that we make choices that are loving. And I give you that old phrase that goes on and on that you'll hear from me until ad nauseam, one loving act at a time. That's how we move forward. Then he also shows us with his disciples, as well as with the person on the cross, his ability to show mercy when mistakes are made, when we do not follow the Ten Commandments really well and we make mistakes. And the important thing that he teaches us, which is often missed, is that the quicker we ask for forgiveness, the quicker we're able to heal and get better. And it's a little bit like this. You know what a charcoal briquette is, don't you? Those of you who are my age, we actually use these before the gas came. All right, charcoal briquette. You're on the porch, one drops off. You get your little shovel or your little tool, you pick it up. If the briquette continues to lay on your porch or your deck, it's going to burn it through, will it not? It'll burn and burn and make something you have to repair. But if you pick it up quickly, there's barely a mark. And that's what Jesus says about our mistakes. The quicker we ask for forgiveness, the quicker we receive them. But this is the other part of it. We have to be astute. We have to be intelligent enough to know when we're making a mistake. And that's why we hear readings like today, where we hear that Jesus was tempted, but he made no mistake, is to realize that this is a part of our lives. And the closer we get to this person, the way in which we also show forth Christ-like behavior, that helps us to make less and less sin, less and less problems in our lives. But there's another side to this. Are you with me? There's another side to this. All right? This is the hard one. We're doing all the right things. We're following the commandments. And we run into the fact that part of our life is not going well. And it's because there's some other irritant, whether that be person or work or health, somehow gets in the way. So it's important to understand that even though we're doing the right things, that doesn't always mean it's going to turn out at first the right way. Do you get what I'm talking about here? And this is what we call unfair. I did what you said I should do, and I'm up to my neck in alligators and they're biting. We know the experience. This is when we have to stop and remember this story about Jesus. Because what it does, it throws us off our game, as it were, throws us off of our moral compass. And we have to stop. And we say, excuse me. Jesus is tempted. Now, we made a mistake here. He also teaches me to ask for forgiveness. But when I'm aware of and accept the fact that there is unfairness in my life, then I can work more clearly with it because I know it's there. And I won't go through this whining period where I say, oh, how unfair this is. It's so awful. I did all the right things. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. The whining, we need to get past that. We need to understand that those things are going to occur in our lives, and to remember he understands. And when he understands and we're aware of that, we become a more understanding person. Are we clear so far? All right, enough with the academics. Now, a more personal part. In Lent, you've heard this speech from me before, but I'm going to give it every year. You choose something to do during Lent to help you be a more loving person. If you're not choosing it for that purpose, then it's almost worthless. Almost. This is not about a discipline. This is not about making morally suffer because you're not eating their chocolate. That's not what it's about. What it's about is, what can I do in my life that's going to help me make God's love clear in my life so that I sin less and am a better example of persons in the world. That's what we're after. It states at the beginning of Lent that there are three things that are at the center of our way of life. One is prayer, one is fasting, one is, yes, almsgiving. Almsgiving, giving to charity. So this I submit to you, this is between us, and I've told you this before, but it's important that you take this very seriously. There is a war going on over in the Ukraine. It's real. It's painful. you and I have a chance to do something about it. Most of us are not going to go there. We're not soldiers, most of us. But God has given us this power through prayer to make a difference. But we have to make it personal. So first thing in our Lenten prayer, what special prayer may I say for those persons? I'm going to tell you what I personally did. What's up to you is the rest. I saw these mothers, pregnant, those with young babies, trying to escape the Ukraine. You know, for both the mother and the baby, it's going to be a hassle. When they left, they don't even know whether they could get medicine for their child. It showed one mother with a child that had specific medical needs. She had no idea where she's going to get the next treatment for this child. This is heart-wrenching stuff. So this is what I'm encouraging you to do. Look through the newspaper, find some persons in there, and dedicate your prayer, a special one, for that particular family that you see in that prayer or in that picture, and keep that throughout Lent. That you want to make a difference, a real difference, in these persons' lives. And we have the power to do that. Now, it may mean, because, remember, prayer, fasting, almsgiving. It can be that you will say to yourself, I'm going to eat a little less here with the hope that this little sacrifice can make a difference for this parent, this grandparent, this child. Make it personal. When it's personal, it makes it real, because that kind of war over there is very, very real. And most of us have lived all of our lives with the threat of war one year or another. But Jesus has told us we can make a difference. So you do that by personally looking and finding a real person. And it doesn't mean that that's the only person you will help, because when you help that person, it feeds out to all other people. It may be that you're going to eat a little less so that this family might have a little more. You may even be inclined, because there are various funds in the diocese now and in the Ukrainian church, to send money. That may be possible too. If you make this personal, it becomes real. And Lent becomes real. And your power as a Christian Catholic becomes real. We can make a difference. And it's up to us to look at this carefully and take this seriously. This is not about something we're going to start and then not finish. This is something that we're going to go forward with until these people have a more peaceful life. And we have no idea where that is. Lastly, when we go through this process, we're going to run into a day when we fall down. What we do, because we've been taught here in this church, is we get up and we don't moan and groan and whine. We say, I didn't do well, that's past, I choose to do better from this moment forward. Do it that simply. Do you understand the process? Do not lollygag here in the back and cry about what's not. It doesn't change anything. It's a waste of energy. It has zero benefits. Zero. This is really important during this Lent. We've prayed for the people who had during the pandemic. We know what that's like. This is real painful stuff that is affecting our world in a very adverse way. God has empowered you and I to make a difference, make it real. Look in the paper, find your family, stay focused so that we can help lift up those people even from this distance.